Good morning. It is August the 19th, 2016. 2 weeks of summer left, and we'll probably see that impact the markets today. No news really to speak of overnight. No news on tap today other than the Baker Hughes rig count. That generally will yield a trading range market. Hong Kong, Europe, Britain, and the E-mini are all lower. Japan's market and Shanghai's markets were higher. So right now we're coming into the markets with the stock indexes pointed lower. That should be enough to support treasuries. And we'll see if that happens. Support begins at 132, 132.04. And resistance begins at 12 to 16. So our sells 11 to 15. Sell 1, 19 to 23, sell 2. On the buy side, 1 to 5, and then 25 to 29. I don't look for a lot to happen today. I think if indexes do sell, that treasuries can bounce higher, but not break out to the upside. So another day probably requiring a great deal of patience, or you buy the opening or sell the opening and walk away and get out market on close. On the ZB, resistance starts at 24.28. That's number 1. So we'll make 31.03, sell 1. 7 to 11, sell 2. On the buy side, we've got support 12 to 16. So we'll make 5 to 9, buy 1. 29 to 01, buy 2. Look for a tight trading range today. Lower volumes, lower volatility. Now, on situations like this, trend days can actually start because nobody expects anything, and the market starts to go and support or resistance comes out, which surprises everybody, and that starts long liquidation or short covering. Then they take out the next level, and that accelerates the long liquidation, short covering, and it kind of feeds on itself. And so it can get out of hand. There's never any guarantees of anything, but my guess is by the end of the day that not a lot will have happened. Gold was off a little bit, probably not associated or due to anything. Just traded technically, resistance held, and the market proceeded to sell a little bit. So we had the 60 areas resistance. You can see Globex was sold. You can see that the selling is picked up in S period, and so we're in our 45, 47, and we've got best support down here in the 40 areas. So we'll make 46, 44, buy 1. 41, 39, buy 2. And it looks like we're going to head a little bit lower this morning. On the sell side, 53, 55, sell 1. And 58, 60, sell 2. Dollar is up today. Yen and the euro are lower. Market has rejected prices above 113.60. We're at 37. So we're pretty much where we were yesterday in a 15 to 25 area. Buy one. 113 even, buy two. On the sell side, 45 to 55, sell one. 70 to 75, sell two. Okay, crude, we said yesterday that crude was going to 49.15, a high volume number. Got higher than that in Globex. Had a high in Asia of 49.35, but that was that high volume number. We said if we got to that 46.95, we would get to the 49.15 area. Right here. We did. You don't know how long it's going to take. And today is the last day of September, so still could see the effects of a squeeze. So 48.50, 48 and a quarter be our first buy. The idea that they won't break it entirely. And then 47.75, 48 buy two. Last night we wanted to sell the 49 area, 49 and a quarter. It still looks reasonable to me. And then 49.50, 49.75. But for those of you that are new to the service, I mean, you know where the market's going without a change in the news. And it's hard to accept and believe. You say, that can't happen. I mean, I've watched this for 30 years. And we first started out, we called it magic. But the longer that you play with it and deal with it, what you're dealing with is that low volume numbers are support and resistance. High volume numbers represent value. And the market has a memory. People knew why they put those trades on in that particular area. They still have them on. Some people still have them on. Those that are ahead of the game will protect themselves from losses. Those that are underwater will scratch the trade when they get back there. And that's the dynamic that makes that work. But again, if you're new to our service and that way of thinking, you're going to have to watch it for a while until you gain confidence in it. Like we do in everything. It's hard just to jump up. And when we first start out, we'll trade anything. Any idea that somebody says is good, we just take it. We don't doubt what they say, and then we get the losses mount, and they continue to mount, and then we find out that, well, maybe this stuff doesn't work as advertised, and so our confidence drops a great deal. And then you have to go back and you got to rebuild it. So you got to do your homework. You got to look at the data. You have to say, yeah, this setup does work, and it produces, on average, this type of winner. It takes this big a stop to stay in the position to get to that winner. Then you sim trade it to make sure that you can watch it live real time, and then you go to live trading, and live trading involves learning how to let your winners run. That's the big difference between sim trading and live trading. That and the foolish Monte Carlo simulation where you double down, double down, double down, double down. You can't do that in real life. You can't do that in the casinos either due to table limits. So it's all part of a learning process. If you have a valid, robust methodology, you can make it work. Okay, here is the E-mini. It's selling. So we know we've got pretty good support, 65 to 70. We're at 75 right now. Last rotate down 2 days ago, and K period stopped at 69. The low was right at 65. So I think we're headed lower. Don't think we break. So buy one, 70 to 72. And then right against support, 65, 67 for buy two. The news today is the Baker Hughes rig count. I don't think it counts for much of anything outside of the energy market. and probably not a hell of a lot there either when you get right down to it. Sell 1, 79 to 81. Sell 2, 84 to 86. Look for a trading range market today with a lower bias off the opening, which hopefully will support treasuries. Okay, it will take a bit to get everything up and posted. I'm going to get busy on that. I will be back with you as soon as possible. That's right, the martingale, not the Monte Carlo. Monte Carlo is statistical simulation. Thanks, Fitz. Probably beyond being tongue-tied this morning. Back with you shortly.